Hi, I'm Sarah Chen, and this is my story, one of betrayal, resilience, and sweet karma. 5 years ago, I thought I had it all. A thriving online business, a loving husband, and supportive in-laws. But life has a way of revealing people's true colors when money and power are involved. I met James at a startup conference in San Francisco. He was charming, ambitious, and seemed to share my entrepreneurial spirit. After a whirlwind romance, we got married and I moved into his family's sprawling estate in Silicon Valley. His parents, Richard and Victoria Wong, welcomed me warmly, or so I thought. The first year felt like a dream. I managed my successful e-commerce business from home while James worked at his father's tech company. My in-laws bragged about having a self-made businesswoman in the family, and I foolishly believed they were proud of me. To show my appreciation for letting us live in their home, I even contributed $5,000 a month to household expenses. But everything changed when my business skyrocketed. I had developed a unique dropshipping platform that attracted major investors. Suddenly, I was making more money than James and the household dynamic shifted. Victoria began making sly comments about how I should focus on being a proper wife. Richard constantly interrupted my business calls, claiming I was too loud. Still, I kept my head down, quietly saving money for a future home. One evening at dinner, I noticed James acting distant, whispering with his mother. Later, he asked me to meet him in his father's study. To my shock, the entire family was waiting. "Sarah, we need to talk about your savings," James said coldly. "Dad's been monitoring your business accounts. We know you've saved $87,000. I froze. "You've been monitoring my accounts? That's illegal." Richard smirked. "Nothing's illegal when it's family. Besides, hiding money from your husband is shameful." "I wasn't hiding it," I protested. "I was saving for our future, for a home." That's when Victoria dropped the bomb. "James doesn't need a house with you. He's been seeing someone else. A good Chinese girl from a respectable family." My heart sank. James wouldn't even meet my eyes. "Her name is Lisa. We've been together 6 months," he mumbled. "Her family is important to Dad's business. We need your savings to buy us a house." The room spun. Half a year of lies and betrayal, and now they wanted my money to fund my husband's affair? "You're insane if you think I'll give you my money," I snapped. Victoria's face darkened. "Ungrateful witch. After everything we've done for you? That money belongs to the family. James is your husband. Everything you have is his." "That's not how it works," I shot back. "My business is mine. My savings are mine. And James can." Before I could finish, James slapped me across the face, sending me stumbling. "You're nothing without this family," he snarled. "We made you. We can break you." Tears burned my eyes, but inside something shifted. I saw them for who they truly were, users, liars, and criminals. "You have 24 hours to transfer the money," Richard declared. "Or we'll make sure you regret ever starting that little business." That night, I locked myself in the bedroom, shaking. Through the walls, I heard them plotting as if I were already defeated. But what they didn't know was that I had been recording their conversations for months, ever since I first sensed something was wrong. I wasn't just going to protect myself, I was going to make them regret ever crossing me. The next morning, I executed my plan. I transferred most of my savings into a secure offshore account I had set up months earlier. Then I locked down my business with new passwords and two-factor authentication. At breakfast, the entire family was waiting, along with Lisa sitting smugly in my chair. "Well," Richard demanded, "is the money ready?" I nodded, laptop in hand. "Yes. But first, I want to show you something." They leaned forward eagerly, expecting a bank transfer. Instead, they saw footage of last night's confrontation, along with recordings of Richard illegally accessing my accounts and discussing tax fraud. "What is this?" James sputtered, turning pale. "Insurance," I said calmly. "I have everything: your threats, your crimes, your fraud. If you push me, this all goes straight to the SEC, the IRS, and every major news outlet in Silicon Valley." Victoria jumped up, furious. "You snake. How dare you spy on this family?" "I learned from the best," I replied coolly. "Did you really think I'd hand over my life's work without protection?" Richard's face turned purple. "Delete those files immediately or what?" I interrupted. "Ruin me? Go ahead. The files are already backed up in multiple places. One wrong move and your empire burns. Lisa's face twisted in shock. Wait, tax fraud? What's going on? I turned to her with a smile. Oh, you don't know? Your future father-in-law has been running a very dirty scheme. Want to see the details? Enough. James shouted, slamming his fist on the table. You're bluffing. Without a word, I played a recording of Richard's voice detailing his offshore accounts. The room went silent. Finally, Richard spoke, voice trembling with rage. What do you want? Simple, I said, standing tall. 1. I leave with all of my money. 2. You sign a document stating you will never interfere with my business. 3. You pay me $100,000 in compensation for attempted extortion. Victoria screeched, Never. We won't give you a penny. Fine, I said calmly, gathering my things. Then I'll let the world know how the great Richard Wong tried to rob his daughter-in-law. Let's see how many investors stay after that. Richard raised a hand, silencing his wife. His face was pale. Wait. Let's discuss this reasonably. And in that moment I knew. Their nightmare had just begun. Within an hour we had negotiated terms. Richard, ever the businessman, tried to haggle, but I held firm. By lunch I had a signed agreement and a confirmed transfer for the compensation money. As I packed my belongings, Lisa appeared in my doorway. I had no idea, she said quietly. I glanced at her expensive handbag, likely bought with my monthly contributions to the household. Word of advice. Get out while you can. They'll do the same to you eventually. She nodded slowly, twisting her engagement ring. My old engagement ring, I noticed with bitter amusement. When everything was packed, I walked out to my car. The family stood on the porch, their faces a mix of hatred and humiliation. James stepped forward, grabbing my arm. You'll regret this, he hissed. Nobody crosses our family. I pulled free. No, James. You'll regret ever thinking you could control me. And just so you know, I've already sent copies of everything to my lawyer. If anything happens to me or my business, it all goes public. Driving away, I felt lighter than I had in months. But this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of my revenge. They thought they'd taught me a lesson about power. I was about to teach them one about karma. I checked into a luxury hotel downtown and spent the next few days setting up my new life. I leased a beautiful apartment overlooking the bay and hired additional security for both my home and office. Then I focused on the next phase of my plan. Remember how I mentioned my dropshipping platform had caught investors' attention? Well, one of those investors was Richard's biggest rival, Marcus Chen, no relation. I scheduled a meeting with him, armed with detailed knowledge of Richard's illegal operations. Marcus welcomed me into his sleek office with genuine warmth. Sarah, I've been following your work. Your platform is impressive. Thank you, I replied. But that's not why I'm here today. How would you like to acquire Richard Wong's company, for pennies on the dollar? His eyebrows shot up. I'm listening. I laid out everything I knew about Richard's fraudulent activities, showing Marcus just enough proof to confirm I wasn't bluffing. By the end of the meeting we had formed a partnership that would change everything. You realize they'll come after you when this is done, Marcus warned. I smiled, thinking of the documents safely stored in multiple locations. Let them try. The next few months were a carefully orchestrated dance of revenge and justice. Marcus and I worked together to systematically expose Richard's crimes, not to the public but to his most important partners and board members. One by one, investors pulled out, citing concerns about shady company practices. Richard's company stock plummeted. His empire of fraud and intimidation began to crumble. Victoria's social media grew suspiciously quiet. No more charity galas or luxury vacations. James had to sell his Ferrari, and Lisa mysteriously vanished from his life. Then the call I'd been waiting for. Sarah. It was Victoria, her voice trembling. We need to talk. I let the silence stretch. I'm listening. Please, she whispered, pride cracking. Everything's falling apart. The board is forcing Richard to step down. Our assets are frozen. James is facing criminal charges for corporate espionage. We need your help. I thought of all the nights I'd cried myself to sleep in their house, the sting of James's slap, their smug faces as they demanded my savings. Meet me at the Four Seasons tomorrow at noon, I said finally. Bring everyone. The next day I arrived to find them already waiting. They looked terrible. Richard had aged years and months. Victoria's designer clothes were outdated. James looked utterly broken. I sat down, smoothing my Chanel dress, a recent gift to myself. Well, Richard croaked. Please make it stop. Tell Marcus to back off. We'll give you anything. I took a slow sip of water, letting them stew. Funny thing is, none of this would have happened if you'd just been decent people. If you hadn't tried to steal from me, threaten me, treat me like garbage. Victoria dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. We were wrong. So wrong. Please, Sarah. Remember what you said? I leaned forward. That I was nothing without you? Well, look at you now. I gestured at their haggard faces. Everything you're experiencing, the humiliation, the fear, the helplessness, that's exactly what you tried to make me feel. James reached for my hand. I pulled away in disgust. But unlike you, I continued, I'll show mercy. Not because you deserve it, but because I'm nothing like you. I slid a folder across the table. Inside is a deal from Marcus. He'll buy your company at a fair price. Enough for you to live comfortably, but not in luxury. All charges against James will be dropped. In exchange, you'll sign over all control and agree never to work in this industry again. They frantically reviewed the papers. As I stood to leave, James called out, Sarah, I'm sorry. For everything. I was stupid. Greedy. Save it. I cut him off. Your apology means nothing. Sign the papers, take the deal, and stay out of my life forever. As I walked away, I heard Victoria burst into tears. Once that sound would have pierced me. Now it meant nothing. Today my company is valued at over $200 million. I run it from a stunning office overlooking the bay, employing over 100 people, all treated with the respect I never received in that house. Through mutual acquaintances, I hear about the Wongs sometimes. They live in a modest home now, their once vast social circle reduced to almost nothing. James is a middle manager at a small tech firm, his dreams of inheriting an empire shattered. But I don't think of them much anymore. Their attempt to destroy me only made me stronger. I learned lessons about trust, power, and the importance of protecting myself. My success isn't about revenge anymore. It's about building something meaningful, something that helps others achieve their dreams. Last week, I even received a letter from Lisa. She thanked me for the warning I gave her and said she dodged a bullet by leaving James. She's now running her own successful business, inspired by how I stood up to the Wongs. When young entrepreneurs ask me the secret to my success, I tell them, it's not just business acumen or strategy. It's about standing your ground, knowing your worth, and never letting anyone steal your dreams. The money the Wongs tried to take from me seems insignificant now. The lesson was priceless. Your greatest power doesn't lie in wealth or family connections. It lies in refusing to be broken by those who underestimate you. And sometimes, being underestimated is the greatest gift your enemies can give you. Because it gives you the power to prove them wrong, in ways they never imagined possible.